feel about this? How do you feel about sitting in front of Steve and airing your grievances and seeing what he's got to say?
Well, to be honest, he went on live Sky Television 3 months ago and accepted an invitation to meet with supporters. And for the last 3 months, we've been trying to get him sat around the table, and it was all empty words. We don't seem to be able to get any meeting with anybody at the club, anybody from Venkers or Steve Kean. I think if he'd had that meeting 3 months ago, perhaps supporters might have been a bit more patient, obviously, with what he's been getting, lack of results on the pitch. I do think it's got to a stage now where I don't really see what a meeting with Steve Kean would achieve. I think it's the board of directors and Venkers that need to be speaking to the supporters.
Do you know, I mean, sometimes when a man sits in front of you and comes across well and tells you their side of the story, you can go away with a very different view of that person. And that is a possibility, of course, but if you were to be able to get this meeting with Steve.
Well, obviously, Steve's just a man like everybody else. He goes to work to make a living, and unfortunately his performance and results haven't panned out the way he would have planned and the way the supporters would have wanted it. 6 victories in 34 games, the results are there. Or lack of results. So obviously, not many people have got a personal problem with Steve Kean. We don't even know the guy. We've never met him. All we know is what he actually says on the TV, and some of the comments he makes is a total disregard for supporters.
Someone's got to make this happen, then. Although you say it may be too late, somebody at Blackburn has got to make this happen. This meeting between a sort of select band of the fans and the manager, by the sound of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Paul Hunt's supposed to be telephoning me later on today regarding another matter, and like I said, in the meetings we have managed to have with the health and safety officer at the club, we keep advocating that we need to have a meeting with the directors and we need to have a meeting with Steve Kean. So far, that's fallen on deaf ears, and I'd hate to think that Steve Kean has once again put out there in the press that he's going to meet with supporters, and it not actually happened.
Big game tonight, of course, and I suppose it won't make much difference even if you go through it, because it's really the league form that you're probably worried about.
So obviously it's a good distraction tonight. Everybody wants to get to the semi-final of the Cup. It could be quite emotional even, I imagine, obviously, with the tragedy of Gary Speed. I know there's no protest planned for this evening, out of respect for Gary Speed. And it puts into perspective, these are real people's lives that you're dealing with, and obviously this is why we want to try and bring protests to an end. We don't want to be protesting every week. I think the club should be trying their hardest to actually bring them to an end peacefully and be sat around the table, because, nobody wants Steve Kean to be getting the flack and stress, what other managers get. I don't feel that, although his results are bad, I feel it's wrong of the club to keep putting him in front of the cameras and answering every single concern which supporters have with what's going on behind the scenes, and he seems to be the guy that gets shot at all the time. And although we are protesting against his results, that's only a small picture of the disgruntled section of the supporters at Blackburn Rovers.
People always say, protest at the end, get the game out of the way. If you're still not happy with what you've seen, let them know how you feel. There have been some protests, obviously, before the game. And have there been a section of Rovers fans who have been saying to you don't want to be doing that before the game? It doesn't help anybody. Are there fans who support the club who aren't happy with the stance you're taking?
Initially, there was a lot of people that said, support before the protest before the game, protest after the game, don't do it during matches. And obviously, these have been going on for 3 months now, and more supporters, although they don't agree with protest, they do agree with the reasons why we're protesting. I think it was really bad of the club, obviously, to ban banners. And I know there's been over 1,000 T-shirts purchased this week, which say 100% Blackburn Rovers, 0% Venkers and Kean. And the intel is saying that the club are going to ban supporters from wearing T-shirts in the ground, which again, it's that sort of thing is just putting anger on the terraces. And the last thing we want to see is supporters fighting with each other due to not having their calls heard from the club. I don't think that's right that the club can ban T-shirts. I've never heard anything like it.
Well, we'll keep in touch, Glenn, and hopefully you can get a meeting with Steve, and just let us know how things pan out.
Yeah, like I said, if you speak to Steve, the supporters are more than willing to have a meeting with him. We are reasonable people. We're not going to, throw loads of anger. I don't think that's the way for things to be done. I think people can sit around the table and speak openly without having to raise their voices and vent anger at each other, because that doesn't benefit the supporters. It doesn't benefit Steve Kean, and it doesn't benefit the future of Blackburn Rovers either.
Glenn, thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
From